G'day guys, it's your favourite kangaroo rider Jace back with more PvP goods. Today I'm bringing you my ultimate guide to PvP add-ons in preparation for patch 9.2. Now this was meant to be part of my patch 9.1.5 Arms Warrior PvP guide series, though I thought this video might be helpful for other classes, specs and roles, mums, dads and labradors. So we've broken it down into separate videos. I will start today's video off with the big 5 of awareness add-ons, followed by the big 3 of RBGs. We'll then look at some other awareness add-ons, some quality of life add-ons, and some analysis add-ons. Then we'll look at how to implement all of these add-ons into your gameplay. Now, we're not here to fuck spiders, so let's rip in. Okay guys, let's get stuck into this guide with the big 5 of awareness add-ons. Now these are all awareness-based add-ons, and no matter who you are, they have the potential to drastically improve your gameplay. Topping the list is possibly the most mandatory add-on in Arena, and that is Gladius / sArena. Now the decision between these two add-ons really comes down to personal preference, but having one is mandatory. They're going to provide you with larger Arena unit frames, which can be customized to your liking and will supply you with additional information such as DR tracking. I personally prefer sArena as I find Gladius to be a little bit too colourful, and I like the simplicity and customization options of sArena. I use the Zaryu layout, which can be found as a default option within the add-on. I then move bits and pieces around to suit me personally. You can see on my screen here to the right hand side, I have trinkets. I've now moved them over to the left hand side because I find that I catch them more often in my peripheral vision, and you need access to that information very, very quickly in Arena. The benefit of sArena or Gladius is that it's going to provide you with a comprehensive one-stop interface for all 3 of your opponents. The DR tracker in particular helps you to prevent from using CC when it might be affected by diminishing returns. So if you don't know, if you use crowd control within a 20-second window of having used one of a similar school, it's going to be for half the duration and then half again if you use it again on top of that. So it's going to help prevent that. In addition to that, having access to information like the trinkets is going to help you determine a kill target, as you'll see who has their trinket available to them, and you can gauge defensives with other add-ons, and you'll know who to set up on. Also, it's going to help you set up in general, because you'll know who can't trinket to prevent the stoppage of your go. So they really are a great add-on, and I'd say that it tops the list because it is mandatory. Okay team, next cab off the rank is big debuffs. Now this is going to show offensive and defensive buffs, as well as CC on unit frames and nameplates. So what I mean by that is unit frames include, for example, the portraits over here on the sides of sArena. You'll see here that Bajira is currently in Stormbolt, and similarly on his nameplate, you can see the Stormbolt there to the right hand side. The pictures above are actually a different add-on that we will cover later in the video. Big debuffs is very customizable, which allows you to pick the spells you want to include and the priority in which they're going to be displayed. So the benefit is it's going to increase your awareness of enemy ability usage. So for example, you can see over here on the Arena unit frames that Vanguards has his wings active, and in addition on his nameplate, it's got a priority of the defensive cooldown, sack. So you can see that it's going to allow me to see that information in a more readily available way. I don't have to go and try and sift through information to find that. It's there, and it's actually going to be in your face. It'll also allow you to chain CC seamlessly. So allowing the video to run a little bit more when some CC is to come out on the enemy team, I'll provide you with an example of what I actually mean. We can even use it from the perspective of the enemy team. So you can see here on my healer's frame, he is now in a Fist of Justice. So watching that countdown, let's say that the enemy shaman wanted to get a hex out. He'd watch the countdown of that Fist of Justice to transition to a hex, leaving minimal time between the two. You don't want to leave a gap so that the healer can get a global out, but also he will then concurrently maximize the benefit of his hex by increasing the duration in which it's going to sit on my healer. So you can see the benefits of this add-on. It really does put the information in your face, as opposed to you needing to go and look for that information yourself. So I think this is a fantastic add-on, and I do highly recommend picking this add-on up. Okay team, next add-on I'm going to take you through is Omnibar. Now Omnibar is going to show the cooldown of enemy offensive and defensive cooldowns, as well as their crowd control. So I like to split these bars, you can see them down here, into Arena 1, 2, and 3 to match my sArena frames or Gladius if you had that. You can even put them next to these Arena frames if you'd like to. So most people actually have this as one bar, so it'll be just kind of clustered all together with each Arena target kind of between one another. my brain just requires this information be ordered to make it more accessible. So I can just glance down. I know this is 1, 2, and 3, and I know exactly what I'm looking at and what I'm looking for amongst those collection of used abilities there. So the benefit of Omnibar is that it's going to allow you to proactively respond to enemy ability use by planning your response and providing with information to predict enemy player actions. So for example, my Colossus Smash is now off cooldown. I can see here the Bajheera has disarm in 5 seconds. If I'm to hold my Colossus Smash, I can predict that he's going to disarm it. It's just common sense when you're into another warrior to disarm the use of their Colossus Smash. Similarly, my Shadow Priest has Fade off cooldown, as is his Disperse. Bajheera's Colossus Smash is coming up in 16 seconds, meaning there's going to be a 15-second window where my Shadow Priest, who is being trained by this comp, cannot respond effectively to the enemy ability use, and therefore my team needs to supplement his defensive cooldowns by using one of our own. So for example, I can look down and see that Colossus Smash there and think, how am I going to respond to that to prevent them gaining momentum against my team or possibly killing my Shadow Priest? Well, I've got Duel coming off cooldown and I have Disarm coming off cooldown in 18 seconds, which will more or less match up with his Colossus Smash if he uses it on cooldown. So like I said, you can predict the future in the sense that you'll know what they're aiming to be using, when they're going to use it, and how you are going to use your cooldowns to respond to theirs. So it is a really good add-on. It can be a little bit tricky to get used to begin with, though take some time to implement it, as it's going to take your gameplay to the next level, especially in this fast-paced meta. Okay, gamers, on to the next add-on, and that is OmniCD. Now, this is my preferred alternative to Ability Team Tracker, though these two add-ons are more or less the same thing. They're going to allow you to select relevant teammate cooldowns and show them in a chosen position on your screen, such as to the left of your party frames like me. You can see here to the left of my party frame, I can see my Shaman's my Shaman's cooldowns, and down here, my Shadow Priest's cooldowns. You can essentially pick any abilities, though I recommend selecting PvP trinkets at a minimum. This is very important to know, and abilities relevant to your synergies with the particular class you're playing with. As a warrior playing WPS, it's really important that I know when he has stun and silence available, so I can pair this with my Stormbolt and all of our offensive cooldowns so we can perform a go. The benefit of OmniCD is it's going to allow you to respond to enemy ability usage and goes armed with the knowledge of all of the tools at your team's disposal, so you can respond appropriately with your own abilities individually. It's also going to allow you to see when your team members have abilities required for you to set up and perform a go. Another really important thing too is seeing when your team has their trinkets available, such as into RMP, so you know whose turn it's going to be to disrupt their attempt to kill your team. It should always be one person on your team trinketing. You should never be overlapping trinkets against comps like RMP, so it's really handy to have that information at your disposal very quickly. Righto, next add-on I'm going to talk to you about is WeakAuras. This add-on is a whole other can of worms and does virtually everything. It has add-ons within the add-on. Now, I'm going to use images taken from this previous video to essentially explain to you why WeakAuras is so good. The primary function of WeakAuras in PvP is to alert you to enemy ability usage or procs very quickly so that you can respond rapidly enough not to get one-shot in this current meta. So you can see here that my screen's lit up like a Christmas tree with Conqueror's banner, avatar, and wings, so that I know that team is using all of their offensive cooldowns, and then I can match that response with an intervene parry on my Shadow Priest if they go him, or a parry on myself if they are to turn around and use those cooldowns on me. Now, WeakAuras is going to also alert you to your own procs and track your stacks of certain abilities. So for example here, I track when I've got a sudden death proc, and I also track the stacks of my overpower to know when my Mortal Strike is going to do a little bit more damage. It'll also help by telling you when Rallying Cry is ending so that you don't randomly die to that ability. I think that's a little bit important. I like to count down, hey guys, my Rallying Cry falls in 3, count down for my team so that they can respond accordingly. If you don't, it's quite likely that they're going to be under pressure and they're just going to have that Rallying Cry fall, and it sometimes will kill you. So it's really handy to do that for your team. I'd also say the importance of WeakAuras as an add-on increases concurrently with your CR. And what I mean by that is the higher your CR climbs, the more you rely upon WeakAuras, and that is because timing becomes more important. So when enemies use abilities, you need to respond more rapidly so that you don't die or overexert defensive cooldowns. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, now I've had a lot of questions about this, and I'm finally going to address it. and that is this weak aura here at the top of my screen that is showing what CC my healer is in and for how long. You can get this weak aura by subscribing to Twin Estate TV on Twitch. I do, however, have a similar weak aura that I will give you a link to below, which won't require you to sub to anyone, and that is this one here. It does exactly the same thing, though it just lacks the text. So you can pick that up, remember, down below. You can just import that straight into the game. I'll give you an example of how to do that in a moment. So a great thing about weak aura is you can identify a problem, such as a monk's spinning crane kick procs. You can go to wago.io and find a pre-made aura to suit your needs. You're then going to import it straight into the add-on in World of Warcraft. It'll just input and it will automatically be implemented into your gameplay. You won't need to set it up. It's a very handy thing to be able to do. Some other cool auras you might want to pick up are the reminder to use your file, your Kyrian file before a match, an alert to kill the pod on an enemy team, such as when a mage is Night Fae, or something to tell you when the enemy healer is drinking. It is a really well-rounded add-on that offers solutions to an endless amount of problems. You should have weak auras, and again, remember, as you increase your rating, this add-on becomes more important. Alright, so we've covered the only add-ons you're going to need to take your arena gameplay to the next level. But what about if you're an RBG player? Well, we've got you covered too with the big three of RBGs. You'll only need 3 add-ons to optimize your play. The first one is going to be BattlegroundEnemies. It's over here to the right hand side, and you'll see it's kind of like sArena for Battlegrounders. It shows enemy player names, health, class, and spec, and allows you to quickly target enemies and focus them, and displays other important information like their trinkets, DRs, and Covenant abilities. So let's pause and take a quick look here. You'll see I can see what I'm playing against. Clicking on this plate here is going to target that player. If I right click, it automatically focuses them. You'll see I can see what Covenant abilities each player has. I can see the DRs here. For example, this person's on Fear DR, and I can see if they've used their trinkets. It's a very well-rounded add-on, and this one is truly mandatory for Battleground players. In addition to that, I'd also recommend picking up the add-on Healers Have to Die, H.H.T.D. This add-on simply marks enemy healers by adding a symbol above their nameplate. It makes identifying healers amongst the carnage very, very easy, and it's going to help too, specifically if you're a target caller. So if you see here, give it a moment, over here, this priest here has a healing icon above his head. This pala does too, it's just covered by the healing tide. Big thing about this add-on is, it has a bit of a flaw. If, for example, a Feral Druid's doing a lot of healing, it'll mark that player as a healer as well. But in general, take it for what it is. It's a very well-rounded add-on, and it has a lot to offer if you're a Battleground player. I'd also suggest playing with big debuffs, which we went over in the arena portion of the initial part of this video, and that is this add-on here. So you'll see here that Battlemaster trinket to the right-hand side of this Paladin's portrait. That is big debuff, so it's going to show CC, offensive, and defensive cooldowns. So 3 very important add-ons that'll take your Battleground and Raid of Battleground play to the next level. Okay guys, we've covered mandatory add-ons in Arena and PvP in general. Let's look at some other awareness-based add-ons that you might find helpful to implement into your gameplay. I'll start this discussion off with FlyPlateBuffs. This is one of my favorite PvP add-ons, full stop. It's a borderline must for me, especially on my warrior. It's going to show specific buffs, debuffs, and CC above enemy nameplates. So for example, I'll pause frame right now. Actually also shows this above friendly nameplates as well. You'll see here, Stormbolt sitting above the nameplate. That is FlyPlateBuffs. Additionally, you'll see over here, my Shadow Priest has popped PI. It's going to show that above his nameplate. Let's say, for example, someone were to use a defensive cooldown. It'll show that as well. It's also excellent to manage little debuffs, like Hamstring and Mortal Wounds here, for example, as well. So this is a very quick game, so it's not a great example of this, but on a longer game, you can manage the use of Hamstring to make sure that it is always active. I've got it enabled, and I've got it quite large above the target frame as well, so I can track it quite easily. It's also going to be fantastic to see what debuffs your friendly players have on enemies as well. So for example, I've configured this to show Shadow Priest's Unholy Nova, so I know that they're going at the same time as me. It's going to confirm he's going Dicky Deep, so we can go double Dicky Deep. It's also going to help prevent things like overlap of my Sharpened Blade with his Siphon. I think we're overlapping it right now, but I've since implemented that to prevent such overlaps. You'll see the Mind Flay from the Siphon on the target. You'll know to hold the Sharpened Blade until after that, so you can get an extended duration of that healing debuff. It's going to make setting things up with your teammates very handy. I'd recommend picking it up and implementing it into your gameplay with respect to your synergies with the classes that you play with. Whatever you need to know about what they're doing, you can get that from this add-on and implement it straight into your gameplay. It's awesome. Really do recommend this add-on. Okay, another fantastic awareness-based add-on is NameplateCooldowns. It's going to show you enemy ability cooldowns above their nameplate, and is kind of like having a baby Omnibar above each player's head. I don't use this add-on. I've turned it on for this skirm to give you a look at how it works, but I do think it is exceptionally helpful. My nameplates end up looking extremely cluttered and confusing because I do love FlyPlateBuffs. If I use both of these, you can see there's just shit everywhere. If it wasn't for this, I would definitely use this add-on. Before I destroyed that guy there, you can see above his head, Turtle is on a 2-minute cooldown. You can see his disengage there on a 6, and the trinket is behind Rallying Cry. It shows what's currently on cooldown for that player, as opposed to what's currently active like FlyPlateBuffs shows. The next add-on I want to talk to you about is GladiatorLOSA. This add-on receives shitloads of hate. It offers verbal cues for enemy ability usage. In reality, this add-on is no different to WeakAuras. It just offers an audio cue instead of a visual cue. Don't let people shame you for using this add-on. Some people are overloaded by excessive amounts of visual stimuli, and some people are more receptive to audio stimuli than they are visual. It's as simple as that. If a screen full of Christmas lights is just too much for you visually, then this could be your answer. In my opinion, it simply just levels the playing field between those that are receptive to visual stimuli and those that are receptive to audio stimuli. Or again, Diminish. This one's super handy and I love it. Shows the enemy team DRs currently affecting you. You can also configure it to show the same information for your teammates. So you'll see to the right hand side of my party unit frames, you can see my healer and I are both on stun DR. It's also excellent as you can use it to indicate when it's optimal for you to burst. And that, for example, is when you're going to experience minimal disruption based on the DRs that you're on. It's also going to give you clues regarding RMP specifically as to who they're going to set up on. Tip, it is the player, not on stun DR. So for example, right here you'd see if this were an example where the mage was still alive, the priest and I are both on stun DR, which means they're going to go this guy because they can get a full chain of stuns on our shaman. So it's an awesome add-on to give you a lot of information. It's kind of niche information, but it's very helpful at a high level to see who the enemy team is going to set up on and who they're going to attempt to kill. Okay, another smaller lightweight add-on you might want to pick up as well is OmniCC. It's just going to add numerical cooldown timers to your abilities and to the interface of other add-ons, such as FlyPlateBuffs, which generally shows the timer beneath the image, for example. So I'll show you what I mean. On FlyPlateBuffs here, you can see, for example, on Berserker Rage, there's a 2. That's generally beneath that. It's just easy to see when it's actually on top of the ability. And down here as well, on all of my abilities, you can see the cooldown timers. It's just a handy little add-on to have. Doesn't offer much more than that, but I definitely recommend it. Alright guys, let's move on to some quality of life add-ons that are going to make the gaming experience just that little bit more enjoyable. Let's talk about Threatplates to begin with. This add-on provides considerable customization options to your nameplates, and I genuinely don't think that I'd be able to play without it. It has endless features, though some of my more favourite features include the ability to change the nameplate size and opacity, the class colours and icons that come with the enemy nameplates, the ability to change enemy names to Arena 1, 2 and 3 whilst in the arena, the ability to resize the target markers for my teammates, the fact that I can change it so that I can see the target of my arena enemies irrespective of whether or not I'm targeting or have that person on focus. You can see they're beneath the nameplate. It shows who that person's target is. And possibly the best factor about it is you can change the size of the nameplates of things like Psyfiend and all of the Shaman's Totems, so they're easy to see and you can click them quite easily due to their size. Customization though can take some time and there aren't a lot of guides out there. If you do want anything specific, you're willing to fiddle around with the add-on, which can be a bit frustrating, but it is worth it. I've had a lot of questions, so in future it might be a case that I'll break this add-on down further and give you a full guide about Threatplates individually. Another really cool quality of life add-on that I've had a lot of questions about is Button Forge. Now it's going to allow you to create custom action bars of any size and button quantity, which you can place anywhere on your screen. To create a bar, all you do is press this button here, press down, and then you can increase the size, the length, decrease it, increase the number, and you can literally put that anywhere on the screen that you want. To destroy a bar, all you do is go here, press that, and press this. Done. I use this add-on to show me my stances, my PvP trinket, and interrupts. I also like to have the abilities that I need to make a go with my team here in a sequence. So Stormbolt, Colossus Smash or Warbreaker, and Spear of Bastion. You can just glance down, see if you've got all the abilities you need, and then just send it. So it's a really cool, really helpful add-on, and it is one that I've had a lot of questions about, probably the most questions about, next to one of the WeakAuras that I've got. Yeah, really awesome add-on. If you're obsessive compulsive like I am, another awesome add-on to pick up is Ealign. The _line in the chat is going to bring up this awesome grid onto your screen, and you can meticulously place your frames. It might save you a lot of time if you're someone like me that likes things to be very specific. Pop that down. Another cool add-on to pick up is Leatrix Plus. Now, this one has a heap of functions, though I really only use it to change the position of my buffs and debuffs. You can make them particularly large if you'd like to. It's also going to allow you to adjust your camera view distance. So I think default is, that's default camera view distance, and you can come further out. And it is really handy to be able to see everything around you, especially in Arena, where you need to see things in the periphery, like a casting Arena target. Another add-on that I like to use is Quartz. So I'll just toggle the bar lock there. This has a lot of functions, but the main reason I like to use it is the ability to increase the size of and change the position of cast bars. So that'll do that for your focus, your target, and the player. But yeah, it has a lot of other functions as well. Keep that in mind. Another lightweight add-on that I like to use is spell notifications. It's a very simple add-on that just displays text to show you that you've reflected a spell. I picked this up originally in Season 1 to show that I've reflected mind games, because I needed to know, without having to sift through information, if I had done so, I can literally just see in my face that I have reflected that particular spell. So I think this add-on's really good if you're playing a warrior. It shows things like your abilities have been dodged or parried as well. So it gives you really quick access to this information really quickly. It's really cool. Another really good add-on that I've had a lot of questions about is UnitFramesImproved. And all that does is simply change the aesthetic of the default frames. So you can see here that it's got the big chunk of brown for the health bar. It doesn't have any function other than that. It's just a visual thing, but I really like it. Another add-on that I like to use that I find particularly handy is Retab Binder. Now, this is going to make tab jump between enemy players specifically, instead of every enemy in an arena, like the pets and things, for example. So when you're amongst a cluster of, little ads and stuff, you can just press tab and it's only going to go between the players that are in the arena. It is particularly handy if you're a melee player, as opposed to a caster. When I'm playing a caster like my Elemental Shaman, I find that I use my Arena 1, 2, 3 binds a little more often than I do this tab function. But as a melee, a quick tab kick is awesome. And one other add-on on this topic of quality of life that I'd like to go through is favorites. So all that's going to do is, if you bring up the social panel, it's essentially just going to let you add favorites to your Battle.net list. Blizzard have implemented this function. But the benefit of this add-on, as opposed to the Blizzard default, is that it is going to change the color of players' names to match the class they're playing. And this is going to help you to scroll through quickly for queuing options. So you can see here that all my friends have the color of the class that they're on. Look at all the people playing DH at the moment. But yeah, this is a really cool add-on to have as well. I really, really like it. Alrighty, on to the topic of analysis add-ons. Now, these are great for retrospective gameplay reviews for you to then go and improve your skills. So essentially breaking down your play, identifying errors, and then applying fixes to get better at the game. I'll start this one off with Squad OV. Now, this is not necessarily an add-on, though it functions like one and is likely the single most effective tool that I've found for improving your gameplay. Now, Squad OV is a free software that records VODs for you. It'll automatically start the recording as you enter the arena and finish it as you exit. You'll need to download the add-on Arena Logger for Squad OV to work, and alongside recording, Squad OV lets you share the recorded videos with your teammates, so you can become kind of like a squad. You can all join the squad and jump in there and just view the games. It's going to provide you with a variety of analytical tools as well. So I'll just give you a very quick look at Squad OV. Let's say I want to look at games between 2600 and 2800 MMR. So it's been a while since I've used this software. As we started to get a bit higher, I just recorded it with OBS, but I think this is very handy. Let's go to this game here, 2700 MMR against the Ret War. Where did it go? That's what we'll do. Okay. So essentially, you can see here it's started recording when I start the game. Go in here, I'll skip ahead a little bit. And I can click to the moment someone on the enemy team dies, or if we lost the game, the moment that someone on my team died. And it'll just show when you finish the game out. And then you can come down here and it's going to show you a variety of other things. So it'll show when damage peaked from one particular person or when healing peaked. Oh, this is from the perspective of my healer. The spells used and auras will show durations and things. It's really cool. Have a little summary of damage dealt, heals, and damage received. You can see things like all the players in the arena, both your team and the other team, the gear they had on, the talents they had, the conduits they had. It's really cool. I highly recommend looking at Squad OV. I can't believe this software is still free. Disclaimer, I'm not sponsored or anything by Squad OV, but I just think that it is worth getting out there. You can even download the clips as well. You can clip them and download them and draw on them. It's just an awesome tool, for analysis, but also if you're a content creator, just automatically recording your games, downloading them, and then uploading them. But yeah, I definitely recommend looking at Squad OV, guys. It's awesome. Another fantastic tool is Jack's Party Cast Bars. Now this one's going to show teammate cast bars next to your party unit frames. I've honestly not found this add-on particularly helpful during queues. Some people might, but I don't. It is, however, great for retrospective analyses of your VODs. You can see what spells your teammates were casting during your goes, for example, or when someone on your team died, to identify any issues that might have arisen, like what could they have casted differently, and really break that down and dissect it as a team. I'll try and find you an example of that on this video here. There you go. So here my healer is casting a hex. So it's going to show you every single spell they cast as a little cast bar, and you can configure that and move it around to suit you. It can be on this side, the other side. You can unanchor it. You can put it wherever you like. It's a really, really handy tool to use. Another good tool to use is TrueFig GCD, which is going to show each global you use in the order that you've used it. And this is going to assist in your VODs because you'll be able to see global for global what abilities you used and consider what you may be able to do differently. It's also an awesome tool for viewers of your stream or if you make video content as well. And you can see this down here on the left-hand side of my screen. You can see that parries just come up there. And you'll see there's Intervene, Mortal Strike. It's just piercing hell. It's really, really handy to be able to break that down and see global for global what decisions you made during a game, and then consider what can I do differently in future to improve my gameplay. Some other handy tools you might want to pick up include Reflex, which shows your queue history, including the comp you played and the comps you played against, and the MMR you were playing it. This will help you identify comps you do poorly against so that you can target particular areas of improvement, kind of sit down with your team and consider what can we do better as a team against that comp. I'll give you a quick little look at that add-on there. You can see it shows your wins versus your losses, the range of the rating, not the MMR, the rating, and then each individual game will show my WPS queues versus the comp we queued into, my team's MMR, their team's MMR, the game duration, which is cool as well, damage, healing, and the rating gain or lost. So I really do think that Reflex is awesome. I think everyone playing Arena competitively that wants to increase their rating should pick this add-on up. Another really good tool too is a really common one, very common in PvE as well, Details. On a superficial level, this add-on tracks damage and healing-based figures, though it can offer so much more. I don't use this to its fullest potential. The main function of improvement that it offers for me individually is the ability for me to compare myself with players of the same class, including, for example, the number of times we both used the specific ability like Mortal Strike, their CC output, or the damage done to particular targets, so you can figure out who they went, who that team's targeting, or who we went. Did me and my Shadow Priest go the same target? Did we split by accident? Did we go the same target enough? Yeah, as an example, you can click on there, see your abilities used. This is just from a quick skirm that I did so I could show you how the add-on works. Shows you things like auras used or auras gained. You can make comparisons between players, like I said, but yeah, I can see myself here. I could click on this warrior down here, see what they used. It's another really handy add-on to have to improve your play. All of these different bits and pieces help you analyze your play, break down what you could be doing better, and then implement improvements and get better at the game. Right, we've talked about all these different add-ons. It's a lot of information to take in. So if you now go and download all of these add-ons, you're going to overload yourself, and instead of enhancing your play, they're going to make it worse. I accumulated these add-ons over time, and each was implemented to fulfill a need I recognized I had at some stage. If you're an Arena player, start with the big five and slowly implement the others based on your individual needs. If you're a BG player, you can pick up the 3 I listed for you and just send it. If you're very new to PvP, it can be beneficial to implement one add-on at a time until you're comfortable with each, otherwise you might find yourself being overwhelmed. I also find it helpful to write down add-on related goals on my whiteboard before I queue to prompt my attention to that specific goal. As an example, you could write down pay attention to enemy PvP trinkets on sArena, or watch my party DRs against RMP with Diminish. So take that into consideration. Don't overload yourself. Just implement the add-ons that you need at the time and make your play better. Just start from there and build on top of that. Okay guys, that is it for my 9.2 PvP add-on guide. I hope you liked the video. I hope it helped. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a crisp thumbs up. I would much appreciate it. Also, subscribe if you want to improve your gameplay by seeing my content as it goes live. Also, would love for you to comment down below with any content you want to see in future videos. Thanks guys, I hope you enjoyed it and see you in the next one. Peace.